University. Thank you very much for the invitation for me. Yes. Good morning, all of you. My topic is biodiversity and its conservation. All of you know that nowadays the very important topic, that is the biodiversity and its conservation. See, before discuss the biodiversity and its conservation, first all of you know that what is the biodiversity and its conservation. The biodiversity conservation protects plants, animals, microbials, and genetic resources for food production, agriculture, and ecosystem functions, such as fertilizing the soil, recycling the nutrients, regulating the pests and diseases, controlling erosion, and pollinating crops and trees. In nature, there are number of type of the plants, animals, microorganisms are there, and totally it's called as the biodiversity. And not only the biodiversity, but its conservation is also very important. With respect to this, I am going to discuss this topic in detail. Here, why biodiversity conservation is important? Because the protection of existence of living things. The second one is the sustainability of various types of the resources, promotion of natural scene, balance of natural processes, and socio-economic development of the country. For this purpose, the biodiversity conservation is very important. The question is here, what is biodiversity? You know, biodiversity, it is a Latin word, that is the bios means the living and diversity means the variety. The term biodiversity defined the variety of life on earth at all its levels from genes to ecosystem, and can encompass the evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that sustain the life. This is simply called as the biodiversity. Means it is very simple, that is the variety of life or variety of plants, animal, and microorganisms or living organism. It is called as the biodiversity. Here the next question is that the values of biodiversity. Which are the values of biodiversity? Here it is in terms of commercial utility, ecological services, social and aesthetic value. There are number of values of biodiversity as there, and these values are explained by the McLean and his co-worker in 1990. See, there are the values of biodiversity. First one is the direct values, and second one is called as the indirect values. Then, which are the direct values? That the direct values means the consumptive use values, as well as the productive use values are called as the direct values. And second point, that is the indirect values, that is the social and cultural values, ethical values, aesthetic, option, and environmental service values. This is the two types of values, direct and indirect, and direct classified into two categories, and indirect values classified into 5 different categories. See, the first out of these two, one is the consumptive use value. What is the consumptive use value? That is values which is in the form of food, direct food, or a drug, or a fiber, pulp, fuel, wood. This is called as the consumptive use value. Means it is directly useful for day-to-day life of the human being, and therefore it is called as the consumptive use value. Out of them, the food, that is the 80,000 edible plant species are there, and about 90% of present-day food crops have been domesticated from wild plants. A large number of wild animals are also the good source of the food. The second one is the drug and medicines. 75% of world's population is directly dependent on the plants or plant extracts or medicines. There are a number of drugs and medicines are there, but some of the example, that is the isabgol, that is which cure the bowel disorder obtained from the husk of the plantago. Penicillin, a wonder drug used as antibiotics from the fungus Penicillium chrysogenum. The next one, the tetracycline from the bacterium. Quinone from the cinchona tree, medicine for malaria. The digitaline from the foxglove, which is very useful for the heart and ailments. Vinblastine and vincristine, which is very useful for the anti-cancer alkaloids. And another one, consumptive use value, that is the fuel. The big source of fuel is the wood. All of you know that in previous era, most of the rural peoples or the tribal peoples, they are used wood as a fuel purpose. That is, for the firewood collected by the individuals are directly used for the consumptive purpose, or called as the consumptive value. These are the various types of the consumptive use values, that is the food, drug, medicine, and fuel. See, one by one we will discuss the productive use values. Next one, that is the productive use values. See, productive use values, these are commercially usable values where the product is marketed and sold. For example, the musk deer, which is useful for the production of musk, silkworm for production of silk, we collect wool from sheep, lac from insects. Therefore, many industries are dependent on these products. Means there are a number of products are there, and lot of industries are directly dependent on these products, that is the pulp and paper industry, silk industry, ivory work, pearl industry, leather industry, and so on. So there are some problems. That is the trading of products from endangered species. For example, the smuggling of fur, horns, tusk, snake skin, cat skin. This is some of the examples of these problems. That is, rich biodiversity are exploited day by day. The next one, that is the social values. The values associated with the social life, customs, religion, and psycho-spiritual aspects of the people. Many plants are considered holy and sacred. For example, the tulsi, mango, people, banyan. These are the useful. They are considered as the holy and sacred. The social life or the songs, they are also dependent on the various plants. It comes under the social values. The cow, snake, owl, bull have special value in biodiversity. Next point is the ethical value. See, what is the ethical value? All life must be preserved based on live and late life. It is the ethical value. This means we don't use the species directly or indirectly, but we feel sorry about the loss of species. For example, the pigeon or dodo, they have existence value. Next one is the aesthetic value. It is related to the beauty of biodiversity. You can see throughout the world, the biodiversity increase the beauty of nature, beauty of particular area, beauty of particular state or the country or the region. It is called as the aesthetic value. The pleasure, the excitement, and visual feast of any area, it is the aesthetic value of the biodiversity. Concept of ecotourism and willingness to pay are gaining grounds, leading to monetary estimate for aesthetic value of biodiversity. You can the examples like the Switzerland, Europe, then the Bhutan, Sri Lanka. These are some of the countries where the nature is very great. That is, the nature add the aesthetic value, and ultimately the travel and tourism is totally depend on this aesthetic value. These are the various types of the aesthetic value. Next one is the option value. This includes the potential of biodiversity that are presently unknown and need to be explored. These biological resources will be of importance in future if not today. For example, the marine animals which is the take part in the anti-cancer drugs. And last one, the ecosystem value, it refers to ecosystem services. It is a non-consumptive value. The functions of the ecosystem, nutrient cycling, nitrogen fixation, cycling of water, etc. All these are related the ecosystem values, and see these are the various values of the biodiversity. The next point is the India as a mega diversity nation. This is a very remarkable thing is that is India having the mega diversity nation or mega diversity is there. First one, the endemism. The species which are restricted only to a particular area, it is called as the endemism. For example, 50% of the lizards are endemic to India. Western Ghats are the site of maximum endemism. Center of origin, nearly 5,000 or more than 5,000 species of flowering plants, 166 species of cropping plants, and 320 species of wild relatives of the cultivated crops have their origin in India. The marine biodiversity, India has 7,500 kilometer long coastline having the various type of the mangroves are there, estuaries there, coral reefs are there, as well as the black waters are there, which are having the rich various type of the biodiversity. More than 340 species of the corals are found in India, rich in mollusks, crustaceans, polychaetes, corals. 93 major wetlands, large forest covers, which comes under the diversity of nation. You can see here the endemism. This is some examples of the endemism. That is the endemism in India, or the biodiversity of endemism in India is that is the 4.5% of total population of this bird. The 45.8% is the reptiles, 33% is plants, 55.8% is amphibians, and 12% is the mammals. This is the situation in endemism in India's biodiversity. See, biodiversity at national level, that is in India, India is one of the 12 mega diversity countries of the world. The total 12 countries of the world which are having the great biodiversity, out of 12, the India is one of them. 2.4% of land area, accounting for 7 to 8% of species of the world, which is 10th among plant-rich countries. India is 10th among the plant-rich countries. Then India is 11th in number of endemic species of higher vertebrates, and 6th in terms of center of biodiversity. I think this is a great. This is the geographical regions of India. India having the 10 biogeographical zones of India. First one, that is the Trans-Himalayas is there. Second one is the Himalaya. Third one is the desert. Fourth one is semi-arid. Fifth one is the Western Ghat. Next is Deccan Plateau, Gangetic Plain, coast, northeast, and islands. These are the, out of them, see, sixth, that is the Deccan Peninsula. This is the most biogeographical, it is a broad or the large biogeographic zone of India, which is occurring in India. There are some hotspots of biodiversity. See, the biodiversity hotspot is a biogeographic region with a significant reservoir of biodiversity that is under threat. Areas which exhibit higher species richness as well as endemism are termed as hotspots of biodiversity. 25 hotspots were identified, out of which 2 were in India. Later 9 were added more, bringing a total to 34. About 40% terrestrial and 25% vertebrates are endemic found this hotspot. After tropical rainforest, the second highest number of endemic species are found in Mediterranean region. See, this is the biodiversity hotspots, the world. This is the red colored, or these are the hotspots which are occur all over the world. See, this is the list of the hotspots which is occur all over the world. There are near about 34 various types of the hotspots are there, but out of them, 3 are occur in India. First one is Indo-Burma, second one is the Western Ghat, and third one is the Eastern Himalaya. These 3 hotspots out of 34 which is occur in India. First one is the Eastern Himalaya. See, many deep and isolated valleys which is occur in, or the available which is occur in Sikkim areas. 35,000 recorded flora endemic to Himalayas, and 4,250 species in Sikkim, of which 60% is endemic. Sapria himalayana is parasitic angiosperm seen only twice in last 70 years. See, this is the Sapria himalaya, and which is commonly here in Assam areas. See, the Western Ghat, that is the 70,000 square kilometer strip of forest is occur in Western Ghats, or which is spread over a Western Ghat. 20% forest evergreen and semi-evergreen forest is located in Western Ghat. 4 states belonging to Western Ghat, that is the Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu is there. 40% is endemic plants. 62 is amphibians. Then the 50% is lizards. The Agasti-Malaya Hills, Silent Valley, Amabalance Reserve basins, which is all under alarming threats. See, during this here, this is the site, that is the Western Ghat area. Next one is the Indo-Burma, that is the which is the east of Ganges, that is the Brahmaputra lowland. Indian states of Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Nagaland, South Assam is there. One of the most densely forested regions of the country is 13,500 species of plants, out of which 7,000 is endemic. 1,260 species of birds is there. 430 are mammals, and this is the region, Indo-Burma region, that is the which is located around the Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, and Mizoram. See, the loss or threats to biodiversity. Anthropogenic causes. There are 2 types of loss or threats of biodiversity. One is the anthropogenic causes, and second one is the natural causes. Anthropogenic causes, that is the loss of habitat. Second one is the poaching. Third one is the man-animal conflict. Fourth one is the introduction of exotic varieties. Next one is the pollution. Next one is the global warming and climate change. And in case of the natural causes, that is the narrow geographical area, low populations, low breeding rate, and natural disasters are there. Here we will discuss one by one. See, first one is the loss of habitat. See, due to the continuous increase in human population and escalating demand for our natural resources, as well as the conservation of forested land into the agricultural land, loss of habitat to grazing land, industries, roads, and cities. Then loss of habitat is occurred due to habitat loss leads to formation of isolated, small scattered populations. These small populations are increasingly vulnerable to inbreeding, which causes loss of gene pool, high infants, mortality, and susceptible to various things. You can see here in picture the people's transforming the forest area into the agricultural land. As well as this second picture clearly shows that the large amount of forest which are harvested for the different things, it is a this is the loss of good example of loss of habitat. See, this is the poaching, the hunting of various body parts, humans or the man hunting for various body parts for their beneficial point of view or the economic point of view. Secondly, illegal trade of skins, tusks, hairs, horns, which takes place day by day. Many animals fall prey to various traps. International market is very active, especially in Tibet and China. Tiger skins, elephant tusks, and etc., which is a good example of poaching, and cost is very less. See, this is the number of pictures are there here. This is the example, or this is the pictures of the poaching. You can see one by one. Every picture is a indicative of how the poaching takes place in the large amount throughout the world, and it causes a lot of loss in biodiversity. This is a very dangerous, but it's real or it's true. Next one is the man-animal conflict. You can see here, if an animal enter in human territory and kills the human beings, there are a number of examples nowadays. In previously, the animals, especially tigers and many more, they are generally live or occur in or stay in forest. But nowadays, these tiger or other animals, they comes in the human areas, and ultimately there is the man-animal conflicts is there, or due to the fear in human being, the humans or the man disturb the animals or they kill the animals. This is some examples of the man-animal conflict, or this is some images of this man-animal conflict. This was a great loss in biodiversity. Next one is the pollution. See, pollutions, there are a number of causes is there. Some, that is the oil spills, biomagnifications, plastic accumulation, noise, algal blooms, heavy heat, or the global warming. Due to this, the loss of biodiversity takes place. Many plants, many animals, many microorganisms were lost due to this pollution or the global warming. This is the some of the images of the pollution and the global warming, which is very harmful to the biodiversity. Next one is the endangered species of India. There are a number of endangered species of India, but we will discuss some of the examples of this. According to the Red Data Book of International Union of Conservation of Nature, there are 51 critically endangered species in India. The number of endangered species in India accounts for around 8.86% of the world's mammals. The mammals are extended over 186 genera, 45 families, and 13 orders, out of which around 49 species are listed as threatened in the IUCN Red List of Threatened Animals. See, the extinct species are there. Example, like a Asiatic cheetah, which is extinct in India since 1949. It lives in open semi-arid grassland, savannas, scrub, or isolated low hillocks amidst plains. Fastest animal on land and can achieve tariff speeds of 115 to 120 km per hour. But main cause of the extinction of this magnificent cat was destruction of habitat due to increase in human habitation and overgrazing by domestic stock. Due to this, the Asiatic cheetah is nowadays extinct in India. The pink-headed duck, which is called as the Rhodonissa, this is a good example of a bird. This bird was shy and secretive and was rarely seen. Nowadays, This is also the one example. Generally, it is previously it was available in the northern and the northeastern India, that is the Orissa, Bihar, Bengal, Assam, and Manipur. But now it is also in extinct position. In case of the endangered flora, you can see here the western flytrap. It is called as the Cerophagia fantastica. It is a critically endangered, a slender twinner that grows in open evergreen forest among bushes or the lateritic soil, which is endemic to Western Ghat, which is a critically endangered as it has been threatened by habitat loss and absence of many conservation measures which is undertaken. This is the image of this Cerophagia fantastica. Next one is the Dalgels freria, which is also endangered. It is a rare, endangered, and endemic plant originally found in the very limited numbers, but nowadays it is likely to be the endangered, and nowadays its status is, besides being endemic and rare, it has also been declared as one of the world's 12 endangered species listed by IUCN. Endangered fauna, that is the tiger, Panthera tigris, which is also endangered. Our national animal, graceful, royal, and elegant. It lives in varied habitat like dry, open jungle, humid evergreen forest, and mangrove swamps. This is the endangered Panthera or the tiger. See the next point, the second point of this our today's topic, that is the biodiversity conservation. See, what is the biodiversity conservation? Till here we discuss about what is the biodiversity, which is the values of biodiversity, what is the present status of biodiversity in world as well as in nation, the endangered, endemic, extinct flora, fauna in India. The next one, the remaining part is what is biodiversity and its conservation, or the biodiversity conservation. The conservation of biodiversity, maintaining the diversity of species, habitats, and the interrelationships between organism and environment to keep ecosystem healthy and functioning. And for this purpose, the biodiversity conservation is very, very important. Otherwise, if we lose the biodiversity, there will be number of problems which occur in future. Biodiversity conservation is classified into two types. One is the in situ conservation, and second one is the ex situ conservation. In situ conservation, that is the which is protected area network. In situ conservation, it is simply called as the protected area network, which is again classified into three types: sacred groves, biosphere reserves, national park, wildlife sanctuaries. Biosphere reserve, it is again classified into terrestrial and marine. And ex situ conservation means it is again classified into the three types: sacred plants, home gardens, seed banks, field gene banks, cryopreservation, and third one is the botanical gardens, arborata, zoological gardens, and aquaria. See, the first one is the protected areas. Protected areas are locations which receive protection because of their recognized natural, ecological, and or cultural values. There are several kinds of protected areas which vary by level of protection depending on the enabling laws of each country. Protected areas also include marine protected areas, the boundaries of which will include some areas of ocean, and transboundary protected areas that overlap multiple countries which remove the borders inside the area. India has 668 PS, that is the protected areas, with a total area of 1,61,221 square kilometer. that is the 4.9% of total geographical area of India. See, this is the national park status of the national parks. The India having the total 102 national parks, 515 wildlife sanctuaries, 47 conservation reserves, 4 is the community reserves, 39 is the tiger reserves, 28 to 32 elephant reserves are there, and biosphere reserve is 17. This is the status of national park in India. See, what is the national park? A national park is an area where the natural or historical objects of the national significance are protected along with the wildlife therein. Such protected areas are created by central legislation and enjoy highest level of legal protection. The good example is the Corbett National Park. It is a very big national park which is occur in Uttaranchal. See, this is the India wildlife sanctuaries are there. See, there are number of wildlife sanctuaries are there throughout the India. This is the status of Indian wildlife sanctuaries. Next one is the tiger reserves. In India, there are number of tiger reserves are there. There is no tourism is allowed according to the Supreme Court decision. See, there are crocodile reservoirs are there. See, this is the good for the biodiversity conservation because the people's day by day, which is harmful to the biodiversity, and therefore the various type of the reserves are very important. The protection by law. Next one is the how the biodiversity conservation is possible. The protection by various types of law, or which some NGOs, non-government organizations, which plays a very important role in the protection of the biodiversity. First one, the various laws like the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Biological Diversity Act 2002, then CITES, World Conservation Union, Indian Wildlife Board, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and Bombay Natural History Society. This is some organizations or NGOs or laws which take very important role in the biodiversity conservation. The next example, the ex situ conservation. Under the ex situ conservation, the 196 zoos, 34 botanical gardens which are situated all over the India, some gene banks or seed banks are there, National Bureau of Plant Genetic Research, which is located in New Delhi, which play a very important role. National Bureau of Animal Genetic Research, which is also available, which is situated in New Delhi. National Facility for Plant Tissue Culture and repository. They take part in the ex situ conservation, or there is important role in ex situ conservation. See, in case of the in situ conservation, that is the example of the in situ conservation, that is the nature reserves, national parks, wildlife refuge, habitat management, habitat restoration. This comes under the in situ conservation. This is my presentation, which I have tried to cover what is biodiversity and what is the present status of biodiversity and how the biodiversity conservation is very important. My topic is over here. If you have any question, please discuss. I will try to answer your questions. Thank you very much.